How would you sum up the heroes that you portrayed, the real men of Easy Company?
I just can't imagine. They were so young and so not fearless, but able to control their fear and selfless. You know what I mean? It's like they and dutiful and full of virtues that we seem to have lost. I don't know whether I could be selfless enough to find myself in a foxhole having the shit shelled out of me and not think, right, fuck this, I'm out of here. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And they did it without complaint and without, well, probably grumbling, bitching, but they call them the greatest generation, don't they? They really did achieve something, do you know what I mean? They fought in the last great war that had like a serious evil enemy, and they were the good guys, and they were the good guys, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like they were the good guys. I was always kind of totally humbled by it all. And there was times when I've done interviews and stuff where it's like, people have said, did you feel like, you were really in the war and stuff? And I thought, well, I don't want to be rude, but no, nowhere near. You know what I mean? A lot of questions were like, well, because you did the boot camp and then, there were a lot of explosions on the set. Do you feel like, you went through something? And I was like, no, I really don't. These guys were just amazing,
Our producer, Ross Owen, I want to make sure and bring him into the conversation.
Yes, I'm here. Can I ask you a question? Why are you so awesome? Well, that's a good question, Ross.
Okay, Ross, you said you had questions you wanted to ask Matthew. Go ahead.
One of the things I wanted to bring up was earlier you were speaking about Mark Warren, who played Bly. Mm-hmm. So you were friends with Mark, and you spent a lot of time with him during the filming of the show. So the question that I was asking was, did he feel, do you think, segregated from the rest of the cast because, or did he get through the whole boot camp experience with you?
No, he didn't. I think he felt segregated for about 5 minutes when he met the whole cast. And then within 5 minutes, his electric personality had won everybody over. So he was kind of cock of the walk after about 5 minutes. That's kind of his way,
One of the other questions I wanted to ask you, Matthew, was talking about the character you played, Talbert. Now, he wasn't featured as much in the show as some of the other characters we got to know, but I heard a story that the real Dick Winters had said that Talbert was a really important guy in his squad. Do you know do you know anything about that?
All I know is that when I met the real Dick Winters, I put my arm around him because he was being photographed a lot and he looked very uncomfortable. And I said to him, "You're a superstar now." And he grinned slightly, and I said, I play Talbot. And he went, "Oh, Talbot, my guardian angel."
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You look at Dick Winters, who is the very embodiment of badass. And he came down on the set one night. We were shooting one night in the back of a deuce and a half. And there was a hush sort of about the place. And we were all sat in the back of this deuce and a half, like fooling around. And the canvas got lifted up, and Tom Hanks was there, and he said, "Guys, this is Dick Winters." And Dick Winters looked at us all, went sheet white, got on a plane and flew back to America. And he said he couldn't handle it. It was just like he was looking into a whole bunch of ghosts' faces.
Oh my God.
Mm.
And then
Can you imagine how weird that is? Yeah.
I am shocked that he had the wherewithal to pack up and leave without actually breaking down completely.
Mm. And when we were in Paris, I spoke a little bit to Johnny Martin, and I mean no disrespect by saying this, but I don't think he liked to talk about things. I don't think he was interviewed a great deal, but he was there. He turned up, and I spoke to him a couple of times, and both times he couldn't speak about anything. His eyes just filled up with tears, and I don't want to talk about this. So it never left them.
Donnie Wahlberg, who is a big character in Band of Brothers with a major following, obviously with his New Kids on the Block fans, and he's doing well with his acting career. What memories do you have of working with Donnie? Did you get close to Donnie at all? What was it like to work with for you?
Yeah, he's a cool guy, man. He's kind of like, because he's a bit older than us, so, and sort of a badass. So, Yeah, he just kept people in check, and he's not a person of very many words.
Could we ask you to do a couple of shout-outs to your fans who are in the chat room? There's loads of girls, screaming girls, in the chat room.
Oh my goodness, that's all they say. Like every few minutes.
Almost traditional now.
They're like, tell them to say my name, tell them to say my name.
I've got to say hello to Jenny Lehman, don't I? Have to. Hello, Jenny. How you doing? I love you.
Oh, there you go. She's going to be ecstatic. We have Katie and Laura J.
Hello, Katie. Hello, Laura J.
We have Meg and Nancy Carter.
Wow, this is so cool. Hello, Meg. Hello, Nancy Carter.
We have Unlock and Red Menace.
Wow, hello to both of you. Who was the first one?
Unlock. That's John.
Unlock. Wow. And the Red Menace, that's a World War I fighter pilot, is it?
Yes.
And
Cool.
not forgetting Schwiddy.
Schwiddy. Hello, Schwiddy.
Bonnie and China.
Hello, Bonnie. Hello, China.
And there's one more we missed out, and that's Daylight Kid 88.
Hello, Daylight Kid 88. That's a very strange name your parents have saddled you with.
Well, so I have one question here from J-Dub, our other producer. He wants to know, did you have any flashbacks or remembrances when you're playing the lieutenant in the new Red Tails movie?
Yeah, it was very weird, actually. I did feel that I'd gone back in time ever so slightly. Except, with the best will in the world, I don't think Red Tails is going to be Band of Brothers.
Oh, I don't blame you one iota on that one. I would not try and second guess any movie beating the longevity and what do we always say that it has it can stand the test of time. Thank you.
Colin Hanks was over in town in London doing a play, and I took him out for a night, and because he was bored, and I took him to a bar, and he was jet lagged, and he said, I don't want. He's been a bit of a wuss, and I said, well, if you don't want to do a beer, let's go somewhere cool. So we went to this lap dancing joint that night. And he's like, I don't know, man, it's not my kind of thing, and all this kind of stuff. And after about 2 minutes, he was like, you're in my view, get out of my way. And it was that night, this girl came next to me, and I looked over, and I said to myself, in my head, I said, go away, you look like trouble. And yeah, that was it. We swapped numbers that night. And the weird thing is about 6 months later, we both called each other on the same day. Totally out of the blue, and met up, and that's how I met her.
That's awesome.
That's a beautiful love story.
Yeah, no kidding.
Isn't it just?
What else
Yes.
you got going on?
Wow. I made my own film. It's called Life Like Fire, and I'm just about to launch it so you can actually watch it on the internet. But we're still doing some tinkering. So if you go onto my website, which is just like, I think it's like MatthewLeitch.com, you can watch quite a low resolution copy of it because it was buffering very badly. But it's just kind of a teaser so you can actually see what it looks like. But you can download it to like an iPhone or your desktop from there or whatnot and see what you think.
Matthew, thank you very much for the time today. We appreciate it.
This is me, Matthew Leitch, saying, I'm going to board the worm. Thank you, Kansas. Good night.
Yeah!
Hello.